Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today got another GoPro POV outdoor karting video. Starting to do more of the karting videos compared to, say, my South Coast videos that I've been doing. Quite fun making these, to be honest. Obviously recording them is pretty much what I do every time when I go karting, pretty much every time. So yeah, when I get a nice session is what we did this evening. It's, yeah, always really nice to go back through, make it to a video, because why not? So tonight we are at it was South Coast Karting in Bournemouth. We managed to get the track to ourselves, managed to book on just for the lot of us that go to our local track. We knew everyone that was there, well, apart from the staff, but the staff are really, really nice, so it's always a bonus when you get a really good night. Obviously everyone we knew how everyone drives, so the understanding is there. Yeah, in probably the coming future, there might be more videos at this track, as we are planning of going here a lot more. There will still be videos, obviously, with my gaming stuff and the other track that I've been uploading quite a bit on recently as well, but for now it's going to be mostly, I wouldn't say, if it's a karting video, it's going to be at this track, unless something changes. But as it stands, we're going to be, right now as I'm doing a voiceover on this video, the plan is it's gonna stay the same with gaming and karting videos as what this channel pretty much has been, but it's gonna be mainly different tracks. Well, I say different, it's gonna be between just the two tracks that, well, we've seen, the videos that I've been uploading previously. That track will be quite a bit. This track, I can probably imagine, will be quite a bit more, but it'll be more spaced out with the dates and stuff. But for now, I think that's enough of the intro, and we're going to get straight on with the racing. So we are currently leaving the pits for our first session. It was a very cold night, this was, I think. I can't remember the exact temperature, but it was definitely near freezing. It was even colder with my hands in this first session, especially. People were struggling with to keep their hands warm. Obviously we can't do much when we're racing at I'm gonna guess around 30 miles an hour. I want to say that, but the stat on these karts is that they reach about 40-50 miles an hour. That's what we're told in the briefing room, at least. Yeah, we get formation laps for every session. We had 3 sessions, as you'll see in this video. Should have probably said that in the intro, but here we are. Yeah, so 3 15-minute sessions. The first one is now underway. Green flag. Kind of spaced out. It's kind of just to get to know the track, the karts. I've actually been to this track before, so I do have a bit of experience with this track. As you can see there, I'm sliding all over the place. The track and the tyres were cold. This is my first time in a real life situation, taking away games and stuff, where I had to actually focus on, keeping my tyres warm, or just getting them warm in general, and adapting to the situation on track. Yeah, started P4, guy in P3 let me through as I almost go into the barriers early on in this first session. That was a literal drift. I don't think it looked like it was full lock, but I want to say that was full lock. I don't think I could steer anymore, but yeah, pretty sure it was full lock trying to save that. But we kept up the barriers, which is always nice, especially when you've got people behind you who are quickly rapid. and get used to the conditions really quick. Yeah, just moving on from that, it was nice to be back in petrol karts, as my local track, as you've seen in the videos before, have gone electric. So it was really nice to go back to petrol, the smell, the sound obviously. Better with these karts because they, as you may or may not noticed yet, they pop. You may see me do that actually, cover my GoPro, because it was kind of like a last minute adjustment to get my GoPro sorted onto my helmet. So I was kind of worried that it was either going to fall off or the footage wasn't going to be good at all, because I had a plan, or as we actually lose the rear end going into turn 1, and as I said before, people were getting rapids so fast early on in this session, go straight on. Very easy to lock the rear axles out in that first corner, which obviously I learnt the hard way. But yeah, we get overtaken. I think we're now back down to P4. Wasn't an actual race, it was normal karting sessions, like you would get if you were to go karting. It's based on times. But we decided to do a little mix-up. We were doing as we had 3 sessions, but there was 9 of us on track for all of these sessions. We decided to do a championship. Just made up one of us, again, kind of like last minute. The way it kind of worked was, person who got first got 9 points, and the person who got 9th got 1 point. I would like to think that, well, I'm going to put it on the screen now, so that you can get an idea of what it would look like. But, yeah, so, as we saw on this lap, again, I locked up going into the first corner, completely no grip at all. Once you lock those tyres, it's literally you're on ice almost, it felt like. Couldn't slow down, it was just sliding everywhere. This corner was the worst, because obviously you go out so close to the tyre barriers there. It doesn't look much on camera, but on person it was like, yeah, insane. And as we can see here, I'm all over the place. I think I let this guy through that's behind me. I think that was me signalling. Yep, basically I'm backing off, let him through. Yeah, this evening caused some pretty big surprises, which, yeah, was always, I don't want to say it was always going to happen, but like, it was just a proper test to people to see who could actually adapt to these conditions. Because as I said, it was freezing out there, there was no temperature in the tyres, the track was freezing, it was actually a bit greasy as well, we were told. Obviously we can't really see out far the entire track from where we stood, waiting to race, so it was kind of a guessing game almost. I suppose this is where indoor karting, like our control of the karts, especially at the new track locally we have, has been really like difficult to control the karts, so that's kind of played in our favour with controlling these. See, I'm aggressively riding the curb there. I actually do that a few times. That hurt quite a lot. So you may or may not hear me make a few sounds going over them, but yeah, it was, for me, I found it the quickest way. As we actually go out a bit wide there almost. You've seen me do that a few times, especially early on. It was crazy how close we would get to that barrier early on in these sessions. You'll see later on I saved that. Yeah, you see I'm slowly getting with the track conditions. We've got a slow driver up ahead. I think he's letting me through there. Yeah, I'll be honest, the time of doing this voiceover I wasn't really paying attention to that, but as you can see now I'm starting to get a bit of confidence with the karts and the track. As I said earlier, it was just the hands that were the problem. My hands were frozen in this first session. It was crazy bad. Yeah, we stuck. Well, I wasn't the only one having this problem either. Other people after the session were saying how bad their hands were. Kind of made it slightly more difficult to drive. Luckily this kart turned in quite easily, so that just helped in that situation. But yeah, moving on with back to the racing. I was getting quicker. You can see I'm getting quicker. I'm more confident, as I said before. Getting to learn a few lines as well. This corner was the worst I found, or just the most difficult one, in my opinion. Some people said otherwise, but yeah, it was. As we get yellow flags now coming out, not quite sure why. I think the guy that's now ahead of me might have spun out. Yeah, he spun out because now the green flag conditions. So I'm catching him quite significantly. Yellow flag rules, when they come out, they limit the karts, so everyone's doing the same as I go sideways there, pretty much. Yeah, that was a close one. Definitely woke me up. So, but we carried on. Missed the barrier, still behind the two drivers ahead of us. Going on to the next lap, I'm catching on every corner. It was... Yeah, as I said before, it's just a matter of learning. As that driver goes wide, I almost hit into him. And I don't really know what happened though, he just... Obviously went in the pits, but pulled out to the right, which is where I was. And I went to the back of him. Yeah, don't know what happened there, but lost a bit of time to the driver ahead, and I've actually noticed that I've got quite a train behind me. I think, well, I say a train, probably like 2 karts, maybe 3 behind me, I'm not sure what that was. So that's definitely upped the pressure. But going on to another lap. A lap time is about, I think we'd set an average times of 29.5, I think that was the average, I'm not entirely sure. I think I would say roughly the average. If I'm honest, I've not actually seen the results properly. I've seen the results, I've seen the lap times, but I've not seen everyone's lap time. Or I can't remember them anyways. But yeah, it was a really close field. I think everyone was within a second of each other, which was really good for everyone. Kind of shows how quick we are and how close we all just are. Some people watching this are probably saying that I'm doing this as a joke. Human DRS, I think it's called. Yeah, it is called that. That was kind of a joke throughout this. You can hear me faintly laughing there. Yeah, it was all smiles and all jokes and stuff this evening, which was, again, another bonus. Going out with the right people is always the best. I think this is, yeah, another yellow flag condition. We have our first crash of the evening. Someone went straight on there, it seems like. I believe this quickly changes to red. As you can see there, back to my hands frozen. But yeah, we quickly go to a red flag.
What? My hands are stuck, I swear. Oh my f***ing god, I'm frozen.
So as you can probably tell, that was me complaining about my hands, obviously. Well, I was shouting about my hands, so obviously about my hands, but yep, I decided to cut out the weight of the red flag. Nothing happened, I was just staring at the flags, because we had no light system like we do at karting. That was pretty much the only marshal point we had of the entire track, as it was like late at night. Yeah, we get underway and the field is actually quite packed up, so this is going to be quite interesting to the end of this session. I believe we've got about like 3 minutes left of the session. No, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes left of the session. One person goes wide, and I decide to go round the outside of 1 and 2 drivers. The guy I just overtook decides to go defensive, which gave me the opportunity to go around the outside, which is I enjoyed very much at the time. So I gained 2 places already from the line. Again, little joke, human DRS. Whether it's actually effective in these rental karts, I'm not sure. Might be. Yeah, going on to the other lap now. But yeah, lap times, as I said before, average of about 29.5 seconds. I'm not actually sure if anything else happens in the session. Yes, I'm quite close to people ahead of me, and people are behind me. I'm not sure. Oh, could be wrong. We start to actually close in on the driver ahead through that section of corners. Question now is, are we going to get him? Going through turn 1 and turn 2, now we're right all over him, kind of. Going into 3 and 4, looked like he went a bit wide there. We're closing in even more using slipstream. Try and get these few corners right. So it looks like he's got the better of me through this corner. I go slightly more wide and he starts to pull away. I've not got the one that I wanted. But, yep, that is the checker flag, so that was my last opportunity to try and get him. Fortunately, wasn't the case this time round. Not really much to cover, really. I think I got second in this session. Yeah, I got second in this session. But, yeah, time to move on to the other session, the second session. So we move on to the second session of the night, and as you can see, we're doing the formation lap as usual. This time I decided to stay a bit close to the guy ahead throughout this formation lap. Yeah, as you see, we're more aggressively trying to warm up the tyres compared to our first session. We've understood that it is kind of a must, if you would. Yeah, so it's all kart switches for every session, or well, that's what it's meant to be. It was randomised. I want to say lucky enough, managed to get the same karts in this session as I did in the first, so I suppose that's a slight advantage to me. Yeah, as we go green for this session, again, packed up like it was at the end of last session. Going into turn 1, nothing really, but no, I've actually gone extremely deep into the corner. Lock the rears. I'll keep on lock the rears. You can see sparks as someone's gone into the barrier there. Luckily managed to keep going. Managed to gain a place from that. So as you can see, it's still not 100% out there. It wasn't for the entire time I'm there, to be honest. But as you can see, we're end of lap 1 and we have got a yellow flag. We believe someone did drive off onto the grass. Not sure if they might have beached it or not, or if there was just a genuine crash. No, there was a crash into that corner that we were saying earlier. Here the kart being limited to a certain speed. That is the rule. You know, that is the point of the limit. Is that so? If you see that, you know, I am catching. Yes, it's yellow, but it is the point of the limiter. We are told that. Yeah, coming on to what now is lap 3, I think. But as we actually go green, I think. No. Getting ahead of myself here. Yeah, Marshall's still trying to clear out the car, I think, and we have gone green for the second time of the session. And as you can see, I've already got a really good start to the session, right behind what is, I'm going to say, P2 on track, as he looks to have a slight look up the inside and then tucks back in, ready for the chicane. See, I'm kind of put off by it. Get not really a run, but keep the gap as he goes wide, and I managed to get the overtake done on him going into, I believe that's turn 4. Now I'm right behind what is P1 on track. I'm going to be using it as a race, simply because I reckon that would be a bit easier to commentate on. But there's boards going up for the cart behind, I think. I'm not sure what the boards were. Definitely not towards me. They're pointing behind me, so I know that. I still go a bit wide there, but still managing to keep up with the cars ahead. Going around these very tricky corners as I'm right behind him. I have a look up the inside. He's seen that I'm there, but I don't quite have the run that I so want. So I tuck back in. He goes, I want to say slightly defensive. He's definitely not entirely on a racing line. Both aggressively take the curb. As you see, I'm having a heavy look, but I decided to back out of it last second. Going into turn 4. He goes very defensive going into turn 5. So I decided to tuck back in into right behind him. As you see, I'm right behind him again, going into the last couple of corners. I'm noticing that he's looking back a lot, so that might be putting him off. So as you can see there, he does go a bit deep into the chicane of turn 1 and 2, but don't really take advantage of it, to be honest. See, he's all out of shape going into turn 4. That was the tricky corner of the night before it got to this section here. As you can see there, he's all out of shape, and I am wheel to wheel with him. No, he just about pulls away, just tucks in quite nicely. So he's actually covered off the inside, and I'm checking behind me because I've got a cart on my inside. He is wheel to with me, but he gets through. I actually brake early because he was rapid off the night. Another one goes through, but I decided to have a quick comeback up here. We're wheel to wheel going into this. It's because he just doesn't see me. I'm joking, obviously. So I back out. I back out, and see that I'm all over the place going into that corner. That was the corner I struggled with the most from this point onwards. As you can see, there's an overtake being done out there, and it does result in the cart on the left going straight on into the grass. Looking back to see if he's okay. He did actually join back on the track shortly after that, so no yellow flag. Well, at the section we were at was needed, so which is always nice to hear, especially people you're racing with. I think that was the only incident we had where someone just went onto the grass. See, there's marshals there putting him back on the track, or helping him back on the track. But the fight going up ahead, I'm trying my best to keep up with them. They were very much quicker than me. Well, we were kind of matching pace, but they were just that bit quicker going onto this. See, let's look at the inside, tucked back in, and there's a bit of a crash into there. I go through, red flag does come out. You see, we're all bunched up now. Visor clearing, because the visibility was so bad. So we're looking around, trying to see what's going on. Got 2 carts up there. One spun out, and then the other one just followed. Out of desperation to try and not T-bone him. That's on the racing line. See the cart there trying to get back around, but for now I'm going to skip on until we go racing again. And we are back underway. Just green flags going out, looking back because there were no lights, as I've mentioned before. I think there were no lights. We had to look back at the green flag. being waved. It was quite awkward, but worked nonetheless. So now I've got the pressure of potentially 2 faster karts behind me. See, I'm again all over the place. I do let him through. I'm here by my throttle inputs. Let him through, he's way too quick for me. I do try and stay with him though, so I can learn a few like techniques, see where I'm losing time. That's what I aim to do for the rest of the session, I believe. Yeah, I don't really think there's much else that happens here, so I am going to jump on to the final session as nothing really happens on. We get a back marker, but I think that's just about it, so we're going to skip on to the final session. So after a bit of learning, after staying behind that kart for the rest of the session we are back underway for our third and final session of the evening, and feeling a bit confident. I got, as it stands, I got second and second in the first 2 sessions, so me and P2 are equal on points going into this final session. So it's going to be quite interesting, it was interesting, I should reinstate, obviously.
No visibility, man.
So as you can hear me say there, a lack of visibility. Going back to the same original problem as before, but we are ready to go for our final session of the evening. Quite close up together as usual, going to turn 1, kart ahead goes straight on. I'm not entirely sure. Well, obviously lock up, that's what I'd like to think anyways. As you see, I'm drifting around that corner. Don't know how I didn't hit the tyre barriers there. That was very close. But staying ahead, didn't lose any positions. I mean, they're different karts compared to the first 2 sessions, so different running, and as you see I'm going up the inside, just there, and through we go. He's right behind me though, so I slightly cover off the inside and move up into on-track 2nd place. Catching down 1st place now. I did feel like the steering on this kart was much heavier than the previous karts. But what I'm now going to do for this final upcoming session is do a highlights sort of thing, but I'll have my commentary over it. Let me know how I'm doing with the commentary as well down below. I don't know if I'm doing well or not. Quite frankly, I'm just waffling, so let me know how I'm doing my waffling, and enjoy this final session. So we're moving on to another lap, and as you can see I'm aggressively taking that curve. Now this was the point where I was closing up on this kart ahead of me so much, and here we go, let's get a slight run. I have closed the gap, and now my goal is now to try and keep the kart stable, which I actually do so well. And you see I'm right behind him. I would have gone for this move, but he looked over his right shoulder, so I wasn't entirely sure if he saw me or not, going back to the old visibility sort of issue everyone was having. But that's why I didn't go for it, because I didn't know if he knew I was there, and it kind of looked like the door was going to shut, which it eventually did. So, and by the time we got to the braking zone, I felt like I already backed off a bit. So, as you can see now, again, aggressively going on that curb, right behind him, going into the first few corners off the lap, and he actually goes wide. Now we're side by side, I am slightly ahead, and I quite aggressively actually, I'm not going to lie, take the position from, or take track position I should say, from that kart, and we move into, I suppose you could say, the lead of the, I'm not going to call it a race, it wasn't really a race, but I am first on track, if you want to put it as that. So these next few highlights are mostly going to be saves. There are a few overtakes, but yeah, most of them are saves, especially that corner. That one eventually did get tricky because it was such a killer one, like the arms and legs, with the amount of, we actually look up the rears a bit there. It was a bit of a sketchy moment. I had to look behind me to see if I was going to be attacked or not. Yeah, I wasn't in that case, but yeah, these combo of corners were just killers, as you will see eventually in these upcoming clips that I will be putting up. So now moving on to another lap of the session. We have two karts ahead of us, or me I should say, because I've kind of made a gap between me and the kart behind at this point. And as you can see, through these couple of corners I have gained in quite a big amount on the karts ahead, and as you can see, just in one lap I'm already right behind. Going into the combo of turn 1 and turn 2, we actually make a bit of contact on the exit there, but I still have the momentum to go up the inside for turn 3 I think, and we actually stick the move, pretty nice quick move, no time really lost. Obviously we're going for personal best lap times in this session. As you can see, at the end of that lap I'm already behind this car, and I actually fully lock up. If you might be able to hear my engine like almost cut off, but we still managed to get the run up the inside again into turn 3. Nice clean move, not much time lost, maybe just in that turn 1 section, but apart from locking up into turn 1, that was a nice clean move as we actually almost clipped the barriers there. Going back to what I was saying earlier with almost hitting the barriers, and yeah, we've managed to get 2 karts in, 2 laps, so it's not bad. And as you can see just in the distance there, we've actually got another one we're approaching. And well, speaking of, I've now cut to the part of where I am right behind, again going into these lovely section of corners I like, and we are almost right behind him as, again, drifting out wide. Apparently it's the racing line on some occasions, but so I'm kind of testing it out, but as you can see going onto this lap we're all right behind him. As he goes a bit deep into turn 1, there was another back marker there, gives a squeeze, but we managed to get 2 karts in a matter of 2 corners, or have we? He's looking to attack back, but we cover off. We were just ahead going into, I'm going to call it my favourite bit for the rest of the video I think, and we got 2 karts in a matter of, 2 corners? Again, not bad, but it's not about track position. Well, it kind of is, depending if you get clean air or not. And more clear air is better for me, because obviously we're going for fastest lap times. That's how the leaderboards are being done. It's not an actual race. But yeah, I was quite happy with that move. Obviously, fair racing all across. We are now going to jump across to the final few laps of the session, and as you can see ahead we have 2 karts ahead, and the one in a white helmet just ahead is the guy who I'm actually battling, is the guy who I'm equal on points on. So seeing that I've caught up to him again is quite promising for me. So going on to, I believe, actually no, that was the final lap, sorry. And as you can see there, a bit of respect shown between the drivers. And yeah, it was a very nice session. For the bits that you didn't see, nothing much really happened, it was just me catching them. But I thought I'd show you the main bits in that last session. However, the results were in the end that I did win this session. I did get first place in the session, which means that I did get first place overall and the most points. So I took home a trophy, and that is going to wrap it up for this video. Let me know if this is the content you want to see more of. I've got more stuff planned, as I think I said in the beginning of the video, but yeah, that's gonna bring an end to this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like if you want, subscribe if you want, and again, leave a comment saying what I could improve with these videos and stuff. But that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.
I was right behind you in the end. What? Yeah. Oh my god.